Lincoln, I'd love to start by grounding our listeners just a bit. When you use the word consciousness, what does that mean in everyday language?
Pretty much awareness. It pretty much boils down to awareness. If you're not aware, or what you're aware of limits what you're sort of conscious of. And if you're very aware, you can be very confused. You're aware of social trends and genetic predispositions and educational traumas. If you're aware of all this stuff all at once, it's very hard to complete a sentence with a singular point, which isn't bad. It's just that for communication, communication is a very thin channel. We're basically trying to understand each other using words that often are not agreed on. And I think that's why conversation tends to be rather thin and superficial, because it's more easily agreed upon if it's thin and superficial. It gets deep and complicated, people get lost, and at some point they get defensive, evasive, and exhausted. So it's that kind of mix. I forgot your question. But yeah, consciousness. It's a kind of a double-edged sword, right? You can be less conscious and the world is a simpler place, rocks and sticks and staying on the road, or more aware and then you end up dealing with more things, more complexity, more uncertainty, more growth, more learning, more confusion, more. Another thing that I've been dealing with lately is resentment for all the nonsense that I was taught, which really was wrong. It's like, in my case, I've had a bunch of great mentors, but it seems like in every case of these great mentors, I have to get to the point where I am equal to them before I really accept them. And I understand their mistakes, and I understand their prejudices, and I kind of forgive them. And those are the better ones, the ones who were open to learning. But most of my teachers have been of lesser quality. They follow textbooks and given the standard erroneous points of view. I mean, if you were to read Freud, it'd be very interesting, but you wouldn't take him seriously. He's like 150 years old. Same with almost everybody. The grandfathers or grandmothers of the field, they're all ultimately full of shit. And some of them are laudable and others are just... Actually, Freud, the thing that I like that Freud said the most was that the purpose of psychotherapy is to make a living. All right, pragmatic. I understand. You want to make the money. Well, okay, you've got to live. All right, I understand. So, yeah, getting over all that. I guess you have to be kind of angry at what you've been taught that was wrong, and you're kind of trying to unload. And it gets back to quantum physics. It's a whole bunch of nonsense, And the alternative is like confusion. So that's where a creative person exists in a world of confusion. But hopefully we'll give some clarity.